The pepper spray hit Nathan Reynolds square in the face at exactly 4:47 p.m. But that wasn't the moment that destroyed his life. No, that happened 30 seconds later, when, through tears and rage, he screamed 7 words that 8,000 live stream viewers would never forget. "I'll kill you like I killed Bailey." Madison Harper's hand stayed steady on the canister even as Nathan dropped to his knees, clawing at his burning eyes. The October wind whipped through the Westfield High parking lot, carrying his screams across the asphalt where 3 of his teammates stood frozen. Brooke's phone shook in her hands, but she kept filming. The viewer count climbed 8,500. 9,000. 9,500. "Oh my God," someone whispered off camera. It might have been Marcus. Did he just say, "Keep recording"? That was definitely Marcus, his voice cracking the way it did when his body couldn't decide between fight or flight. "Everyone needs to see this." Madison took 3 measured steps backward, military training echoing in her muscle memory. Never turn your back on a threat. Never lower your guard until secured. Her father's voice rang clear in her mind as Nathan writhed on the ground, his 220 pounds of quarterback muscle reduced to a sobbing mess. But before I tell you how we got here, how a 16-year-old transfer student ended up with police-grade pepper spray facing down the most feared athlete in school, I want to take just a moment to say thank you. I know these stories can be intense, and the fact that you're here, listening, caring about justice for people like Bailey Morrison, it means everything. If this story touches you, if you believe these voices need to be heard, please consider hitting that like button. It helps more people find these important stories. And if you're able, that thanks button below supports the research and time that goes into sharing these tales that need to be told. Every contribution, no matter how small, helps me bring more stories of courage and justice to light. The live stream comments exploded faster than anyone could read. Did he just confess to murder? Who's Bailey? Someone call 911. This can't be real. 8,000 witnesses. 23 days. That's how long Madison Harper had been at Westfield High. 23 days of careful observation, calculated responses, and preparing for exactly this moment. Because Madison knew something the 8,000 viewers didn't. This wasn't random. This was engineered. But let me back up. Let me tell you how a 16-year-old transfer student ended up with police-grade pepper spray in her pocket, facing down the most feared athlete in school while thousands watched live. Let me tell you about Bailey Morrison and why her name made Marcus Torres stumble backward like he'd seen a ghost. Let me tell you about the 22 days of digital warfare that led to this moment in the parking lot. Most importantly, let me tell you why Madison Harper knew she'd need that pepper spray before she ever set foot in Westfield High. Day 1, August 28th, 7:23 a.m. Madison stood at the main entrance of Westfield High, cataloging exits, blind spots, and potential threats. 3 years of moving from school to school had taught her to read the terrain like a soldier entering hostile territory. The main hallway stretched ahead, lockers lining both sides, fluorescent lights flickering every third panel, security cameras at the intersections. But she noticed the one by the east stairwell had been spray-painted black. "You lost." The voice came from behind, dripping with the kind of confidence that only came from never being challenged. Madison turned slowly. Nathan Reynolds stood there with 2 other players she could tell by their matching letter jackets, black with gold trim. Nathan was exactly what she'd expected from his social media 6'3", shoulders that strained his jacket, jaw sharp enough to cut glass. His brown eyes held the flat, predatory assessment of someone deciding if you were worth his time. "New student," Madison said simply. She'd learned not to give more information than necessary. "Transfer." Nathan stepped closer, and his teammates flanked him. Classic intimidation formation. "Where from?" "Fort Jackson." Not technically a lie. She had lived near the military base, even if that wasn't why they'd moved. Nathan's eyes narrowed. "Military brat. Something like that." Marcus Torres, she recognized him from the basketball team photos in the trophy case, shifted uncomfortably. Unlike Nathan, his eyes held something else. Fear-guilt. He kept glancing at the security camera. The working ones anyway. "Word of advice," Nathan said, moving close enough that Madison could smell his cologne mixed with something sharper. Steroids did have a distinct scent, once you knew what to look for. "We have a way of doing things here. Certain people you talk to, certain people you don't. Certain places you go, certain places you avoid. Learn the rules, follow them, and maybe you'll survive junior year." "And if I don't," Nathan smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "Ask Bailey Morrison." Marcus flinched. Actually, physically flinched at the name. Nathan noticed, and his smile widened. "Oh, wait," Nathan continued, voice dropping to a whisper. "You can't." They walked away laughing, but Marcus looked back once, and, in that glance, Madison saw something that confirmed what she'd suspected. Whatever happened to Bailey Morrison, it wasn't an accident. Madison's first class was AP Literature with Mrs. Chen. She chose a seat by the window, middle row visible enough not to seem antisocial, but with clear sight lines to both exits. Other students filtered in, their conversations creating a map of social hierarchies. "Did you see Nathan's story last night?" Brooke looked so uncomfortable. "Shh, she might hear you." Brooke Patterson entered like she was walking on eggshells. Designer bag clutched tight. Eyes scanning for threats. When she saw Madison, she paused, then deliberately chose a seat 3 rows away, close enough to seem polite, far enough to establish distance. Madison had done her research. Brooke Patterson, Nathan's girlfriend for 8 months. Previously dated someone named Kyle, who'd transferred schools mid-year. Her Instagram showed the careful curation of someone managing their image. But Madison had noticed something others might miss. In group photos, Brooke always positioned herself to hide her left arm. In solo shots from the past 3 months, she wore long sleeves even in summer heat. "Good morning, everyone." Mrs. Chen began class, but Madison kept part of her attention on Brooke. The girl sat rigid, phone face up on her desk like a lifeline. Every notification made her jump. Halfway through class, Brooke's phone lit up. Even from 3 rows back, Madison could see her face pale. Brooke raised her hand, voice barely a whisper. "May I use the restroom?" She practically ran from the room. Madison counted to 30, then raised her own hand. "I'm not feeling well. New student nerves. May I go to the nurse?" Mrs. Chen nodded sympathetically. "Of course. It's down the main hall. Turn right at the trophy case." Madison found Brooke in the 2nd-floor bathroom, the one with the broken camera. She was crying into her phone, mascara streaming. "I can't do this anymore. He's getting worse. Ever since Bailey." She spotted Madison in the mirror and hung up immediately. "Sorry," Madison said, moving to the sink. "Didn't mean to interrupt." "It's fine." Brooke grabbed paper towels, trying to fix her makeup. Her hands shook. Madison noticed the bruise peeking out from under Brooke's sleeve. Purple-green, and exactly the size of a large hand. You know, the nurse has ice packs, helps with swelling. Their eyes met in the mirror. For a moment, Brooke's mask slipped, and Madison saw the exhaustion underneath. Then it snapped back into place. "I'm fine. Just allergies." Brooke threw away the paper towels. "You're the new girl." "Right, Madison." "That's me?" "Some advice: stay away from Nathan Reynolds. Stay away from his friends. Stay away from Mida." She moved toward the door, then paused. "And whatever you do, don't mention Bailey Morrison. Not if you want to survive here." After she left, Madison stood alone in the bathroom, processing. 2 mentions of Bailey Morrison in one morning, both warnings, both carrying the weight of threat. She pulled out her phone and typed a message to her father. "Might need the spray sooner than we thought." His response came immediately. "Already in your car. Side pocket of your gym bag. Stay safe, warrior." By lunch, Madison had mapped the cafeteria's social geography. Nathan held court at the center table, teammates surrounding him like a medieval king with his knights. Brooke sat to his right, picking at a salad, flinching whenever he moved too quickly. Marcus was to his left, laughing at all the right moments, but his eyes kept drifting to the exit. Madison chose a corner table with clear sightlines. She'd learned to eat with her back to the wall. Tray positioned so she could stand quickly if needed. Other students gave her curious glances. New faces always drew attention, but Nathan's earlier warning had apparently spread. No one approached. "Mind if I sit?" Madison looked up to find a girl with purple-streaked hair and thick-rimmed glasses. Laptop bag slung over her shoulder. Everything about her screamed hacker, from the coding stickers on her laptop to the way she'd approached from Madison's blind spot without triggering her instincts. "Free country," Madison said. "Lauren Torres." The girl sat down, immediately pulling out her laptop. "And before you ask, yes, Marcus is my cousin. No, we're not close. And yes, I know you're Madison Harper, formerly of Jackson High. Before that, Freeman Academy. Before that, you've done your homework." Lauren smiled, fingers flying across her keyboard. "I do everyone's homework, for the right price. But you're pro bono. Consider it a welcome gift." "Why kaiho?" "Because you're the first person in 2 years who didn't look away when Nathan tried his intimidation routine. Because you noticed Brooke's bruises. Because you asked about Bailey Morrison." Madison kept her expression neutral. "Lots of people must ask about her." "No," Lauren's fingers stilled. "They don't. Not anymore. Not since the swim team accident." "Accident. That's what the official report says. Bailey Morrison, 16, drowned during unauthorized after-hours practice. Nathan Reynolds attempted CPR but couldn't save her. Tragic accident. Case closed." "But you don't believe that." Lauren turned her laptop screen toward Madison. It showed a news article from 13 months ago. The headline read, "Westfield High mourns loss of star swimmer." The photo showed a smiling black girl with bright eyes and a medal around her neck. Bailey was the best swimmer this school ever had. Olympic potential. She could hold her breath for 4 minutes and swim 50 meters underwater without breaking a sweat. Lauren's voice dropped. "You telling me she drowned in the shallow end of the pool?" Madison studied the article. The details were sparse, carefully sanitized. But she noticed what wasn't there. No mention of why Bailey was at the pool after hours. No explanation of how Nathan happened to be there. No quotes from witnesses. "There's more," Lauren said, pulling up another file. 2 weeks before she died, Bailey filed a complaint with the school board. Sexual harassment. Guess who she named? Madison didn't need to guess. What happened to the complaint? Disappeared, like it never existed. I only know because I recovered it from a backup server they thought they'd wiped. Lauren closed her laptop. Nathan's dad is a state senator. His mom runs the largest law firm in 3 counties. Bailey was a scholarship kid from the South Side. So he killed her and got away with it. Allegedly. Lauren glanced around, lowering her voice further. But yeah, and everyone knows it. Marcus was there that night. He's never been the same. Brooke started dating Nathan 2 months later, and the bruises started showing up after 3. The whole school lives in fear of him because we all know what he's capable of. Madison felt the familiar cold settle into her bones. The same feeling she'd had at Jackson High, at Freeman Academy. The predators were always the same. Only the faces changed. Why are you telling me this? Because someone needs to stop him. And you? Lauren smiled grimly. You look like someone who knows how to stop people. Before Madison could respond, a shadow fell across their table. Nathan stood there, arms crossed, that same predatory smile from the morning. Harper, I see you're making friends with the wrong people already. Lauren shrank back, but Madison met his gaze steadily. Just learning about school history. Fascinating stuff. History's boring. Let's talk about the future. He leaned on the table, using his size to loom over them. Your future here depends on making smart choices. Sitting with the school pariah, not smart. I'll take my chances. Nathan's smile disappeared. You know what? You're right. Everyone deserves one mistake. Consider this your freebie. He straightened, then looked at Lauren. As for you, stay away from her. She doesn't need your kind of influence. After he walked away, Lauren was pale, but trying to hide it. You shouldn't have done that. He doesn't give second chances. Madison watched Nathan return to his table, watched him grab Brooke's wrist when she tried to leave, watched Marcus pretend not to notice. Neither do I, Madison said quietly. The rest of the week passed in careful reconnaissance. Madison learned Nathan's schedule, his habits, his pressure points. He had practice every day after school. Dealer meetings every Thursday behind the equipment shed. Steroids didn't buy themselves, and a particular fondness for cornering freshmen in the third-floor bathroom where the cameras didn't work. She also learned about Bailey, pieced together from whispers and old social media posts. A picture emerged. Bailey Morrison had been everything Nathan wasn't. Brilliant, kind, genuine. She'd tutored struggling students for free, organized fundraisers for the swim team, stood up to bullies. She'd also been beautiful, confident, and completely unimpressed by Nathan Reynolds' status. She laughed at him, one brave sophomore told Madison in hushed tones, in front of everyone. He asked her to homecoming, and she literally laughed and said she'd rather go alone. That was September 10th of last year. Bailey died September 24th. Madison documented everything in encrypted files. Times, dates, patterns. Nathan's steroid rage was getting worse. 3 lockers punched this week alone. His paranoia was growing too. He'd started checking over his shoulder, accusing random students of filming him, going through Brooke's phone obsessively. Someone's blackmailing him. Lauren confirmed Friday afternoon. They'd developed a routine meeting in the computer lab during lunch. Lauren's fingers flying across keyboards while Madison stood watch. Anonymous emails demanding $5,000, or they'll release some video. He's freaking out. What video? That's the million-dollar question, but based on his reaction, Lauren pulled up Nathan's social media, showing increasingly erratic posts. I'd say it's related to Bailey. Madison felt the pieces clicking together. Who else was there that night? Besides Marcus, Chase Mitchell and Dylan Roberts. Both mysteriously got full rides to out-of-state colleges right after graduation. Nathan's the only one from that crew still here. And Marcus. Marcus is broken. Whatever he saw, Lauren shook her head. He's been in therapy since October. Tried to kill himself in December. Nathan keeps him close. Makes sure he stays quiet. Madison's phone buzzed. Unknown number. The message was simple. Ask Nathan about the GoPro. She showed it to Lauren, whose eyes widened. Holy shit! Someone recorded it. The question is who and what they want. Maybe they want what we want, justice for Bailey. Or maybe, Madison said slowly, they're using us to get it. Week 2 brought escalation. Nathan's paranoia had reached a breaking point. He'd cornered 3 different students, accusing them of being the blackmailer. His teammates were getting nervous. Even loyalty had limits when someone was spiraling. Madison had started carrying the pepper spray after an incident on Tuesday. She'd been leaving the library when Nathan appeared, blocking her path. You're her, aren't you? His eyes were bloodshot, pupils dilated. The one sending the emails. I don't know what you're talking about. Bullshit. He slammed his fist into the wall beside her head. Someone's been digging into my business, asking questions about, he caught himself. It started when you showed up. Madison didn't flinch. 3 years of self-defense training had taught her to read violence like a language. And Nathan was screaming his intentions. Weight on his back foot. Right shoulder dropped, he was going to grab. Not strike. Everything okay here? Vice Principal Johnson rounded the corner, and Nathan stepped back immediately, mask sliding into place. Just welcoming our new student, Nathan said smoothly. Right, Madison. Right. Madison kept her voice level. He was telling me about the swim team. Sounds like they could use new members since... She let it hang. Nathan's face went pale, then red. Since we graduated some seniors, yeah. Johnson looked between them suspiciously but moved on when he was gone. Nathan leaned close enough that Madison could smell the rage sweat. Stay away from me. Stay away from my friends, or you'll end up like... Like who? Nathan. Madison met his eyes. Finish the sentence. He backed away, something like fear flickering across his face. You don't know who you're messing with. Neither do you. That night, Madison got another unknown message. He's going to snap soon. Be ready. She spent the weekend preparing, studied the parking lot layout, noted which doors locked automatically after hours, practiced drawing the pepper spray until it was muscle memory. Her father, former Special Forces, had taught her that fights were won before they started. Preparation was survival. You sure about this? He'd asked during their Sunday training session. I could make some calls. Get you transferred again. No. Madison had wiped sweat from her face, bruises already forming from their sparring. I'm tired of running. Tired of watching these guys get away with it. Bailey Morrison deserves justice. And you think you can get it? I think someone's counting on me to try. Her father had studied her for a long moment. The blackmailer. You think they're using you. I know they are. But maybe that's okay. Maybe we want the same thing. Or maybe you're being set up as the fall guy. Madison had considered that. But she kept coming back to Bailey's photo, to Brooke's bruises, to Marcus's haunted eyes. Someone has to do something. If that someone is me, so be it. Monday, October 9th. The intensity ratcheted up another notch. Madison arrived to find her locker covered in printed screenshots photos from her previous schools, carefully edited to make her look unstable. Psycho was spray-painted across them in red. "Subtle," she muttered, pulling them down. Other students watched nervously, waiting to see if she'd break. Holy crap! Lauren appeared beside her, already documenting everything with her phone. This is next level, even for Nathan. He's scared. Madison folded the papers carefully. Evidence for later. Scared animals are the most dangerous. You're not scared. Fear is a choice. Madison closed her locker. I choose preparation instead. But Nathan wasn't done. Throughout the day, his campaign intensified. Rumors spread like wildfire. Madison was a narc, a psycho, a plant from the police. Someone had hacked her social media, posting inflammatory content. By lunch, she was radioactive. Even Lauren kept her distance in public. The breaking point came 7th period. Madison walked into biology to find Nathan in her seat. Her backpack emptied across the floor. The class held its breath. "Oops," Nathan said, not moving. "Clumsy me." Madison surveyed the scene calmly. Books scattered, papers torn, personal items strewn about. But her gym bag, the one with the pepper spray, was still zipped. He hadn't found it. "No problem," she said, beginning to collect her things. "Accidents happen." "Yeah, they do." Nathan stood, stepping on her notebook as he moved. All kinds of accidents, swimming accidents, car accidents. Tragic, really, how accident-prone some people are. That's when Madison saw it, a flicker of movement from Brooke. Recording on her phone. Not openly, but angled from her bag. Their eyes met for a split second, and Brooke gave the tiniest nod. Madison finished gathering her things in silence, letting Nathan think he'd won. But inside, she was recalculating. Brooke was documenting, whether for self-protection or something else. Nathan's girlfriend was building evidence. After class, Madison found a note in her collected papers. "He's planning something big. Friday after school. Be ready. A friend." Tuesday through Thursday passed in a blur of escalating tension. Nathan's crew grew bolder, following Madison between classes, blocking her car in the parking lot, leaving threatening messages. But something had shifted in the school's atmosphere. Other students, emboldened by Madison's refusal to break, started pushing back in small ways. Someone spray-painted over Nathan's parking spot. Anonymous notes appeared in victims' lockers. "You're not alone." Teachers who'd looked the other way for years suddenly started happening to walk by when Nathan cornered someone. "It's like the whole school is waking up," Lauren marveled Thursday night. They were in a diner 2 towns over, comparing notes. Even Marcus is acting different. He actually warned a freshman today. The blackmailer's not just targeting Nathan, Madison realized. They are orchestrating a revolution, using you as the catalyst. Maybe. Or maybe I'm the distraction while they position the real pieces. Lauren pulled up her laptop. "I traced the anonymous messages. They're bouncing through so many proxies it's impossible to track. But the timing is interesting. They started 2 days before you transferred here. So they knew I was coming. More than that, I think they researched you specifically. Found someone with the skills and motivation to take Nathan on." Madison considered this. It should have bothered her more, being manipulated. But if the end result was justice for Bailey and freedom for students like Brooke, did the method matter tomorrow? She said finally. "Whatever they're planning, it happens tomorrow." "How do you know?" Madison smiled grimly. "Because tomorrow is Friday the 13th. And whoever our puppet master is, they have a flair for the dramatic. Friday morning arrived with storm clouds and an electric tension that had nothing to do with the weather. Madison noticed it immediately, the way conversation stopped when she passed. The nervous energy crackling through the hallways, the way even teachers seemed on edge. Nathan was worse than ever. He'd shown up twitchy and aggressive, shoving a freshman for accidentally bumping him, screaming at Brooke for forgetting his protein shake. The steroids were eating him alive from the inside, and the paranoia was winning. "Something's different," Lauren whispered during their computer lab meeting. "Look at this." She showed Madison Nathan's phone activity. Lauren had many skills, and digital surveillance was just one. He's been texting all morning, planning something for after school. Parking lot. How many? Him, Marcus, Dylan, who's back from college for the weekend, and 2 juniors from the team. Lauren bit her lip. And he told Brooke to bring her phone, specifically to bring her phone. The pieces clicked. He's going to live stream it, whatever he's planning. He wants witnesses. Why would he? Lauren's eyes widened. He thinks if he does it publicly, on camera, he's protected. Can't be accused of anything shady if thousands watch it happen. Or, Madison said slowly, someone convinced him that's the case. Another anonymous text arrived, 4:30 p.m., back parking lot. Trust the process. Madison spent the rest of the day in hypervigilance. She checked and rechecked the pepper spray, mentally rehearsed scenarios, watched Nathan's crew coordinate their plan. Marcus looked sick whenever Nathan talked to him, but he nodded along. Brooke clutched her phone like a lifeline, fingers trembling. During 6th period, Madison made her own preparations. She sent encrypted files to 3 different email accounts, all her documentation, all the evidence she'd gathered. If something went wrong, the truth would still come out. You don't have to do this. Lauren caught her at her locker after final bell. We could call the police now. Show them everything. Show them what rumors and bruises and anonymous messages. Madison shook her head. Nathan's family owns this town. We need more. You need confession. Or we need him to reveal himself so completely that even his family can't cover it up. Lauren hugged her suddenly, fierce and quick. I'll be watching online, whatever happens. You won't be alone. Madison headed to the parking lot at 4:25. The October air was sharp with the promise of rain, and the sky had turned the color of old pewter. She could see them already, Nathan's crew spread out in tactical positions, trying to look casual and failing. Brooke stood to the side, phone already out. Madison caught the livestream title as she approached, teaching the snitch a lesson. Her own phone buzzed one last time. Remember, Bailey. Remember why you're here. The truth will set everyone free. Madison Harper took a deep breath, felt the weight of the pepper spray in her pocket, and walked into the trap with her eyes wide open. The viewer count was already at 500. It would hit 8,000 before Nathan Reynolds screamed those 7 words that would destroy his life. But that's when everything went sideways, in ways no one, not Madison, not the mysterious puppet master, not even Nathan himself could have predicted, because Madison Harper had a secret of her own, one that would flip the entire script before the night was through. Madison stood in the center of the makeshift arena, calculating distances. Nathan was 12 feet away, trying to look relaxed while his muscles coiled for violence. Marcus flanked left, 16 feet, shifting weight nervously. Dylan right, 14 feet, cracking his knuckles. The 2 juniors blocked the exit route to the main building. 22 feet behind her. 800 viewers already, Brooke announced, her voice carrying across the lot. Everyone wants to see the new girl learn her place. But Madison caught the tremor beneath Brooke's bravado, saw how she angled the phone to capture everyone's faces clearly. Whatever happened next would be preserved in digital amber. So, Nathan stepped forward, that predator smile back in place. Madison Harper, military brat, transfer student, troublemaker. Each word brought him closer. You've been asking questions about things that aren't your business. Like Bailey Morrison. The name hung in the air like a grenade pin. Marcus actually stepped backward. Dylan's knuckle cracking stopped. Even the viewer count seemed to pause before jumping to 1,200. Nathan's face went through a transformation surprise to rage, to something darker. You don't know anything about Bailey. I know she was the best swimmer this school ever had. I know she filed a harassment complaint against you 2 weeks before she died. I know you were there the night she drowned. Shut up. His voice dropped to barely above a whisper, but the phone picked it up. Comments flooded the screen too fast to read. I know Marcus was there too, and Dylan and Chase. Madison kept her voice steady, clinical. I know the official report doesn't match the evidence. I know someone has been blackmailing you about what really happened. I said, shut up, Nathan lunged. 220 pounds of steroid-fueled rage coming at 40 miles per hour. But Madison had been reading his body language for 23 days. Weight on back foot, shoulder telegraphing, eyes focused on her throat. Class C anger-driven attack pattern. She sidestepped smooth as water, hand finding the pepper spray in one practiced motion. Nathan's momentum carried him past, and he spun with surprising agility for his size. That's when Madison noticed his pupils not just dilated, completely blown. He'd taken something more than steroids today. 2,000 viewers, Brooke called out, circling to keep them both in frame. Guys, this is getting serious. Grab her, Nathan shouted. But Marcus and Dylan hesitated. The live stream had changed the dynamic. They were bullies, not performers. The anonymous audience made them uncertain. Nathan didn't wait. He came again, this time feinting left before driving right. Madison almost bought it almost. His hand grazed her shoulder before she twisted away, but his fingers caught her jacket. They spun together in a violent dance, and for a moment, they were face to face, inches apart. You want to know about Bailey? His breath was hot, sour with energy drinks and something chemical. She thought she was better than everyone, just like you. Madison brought her knee up, not full force, just enough to create space. Nathan grunted but didn't let go. They stumbled together, and Madison felt the crowd closing in. She laughed at me, Nathan continued, voice rising. In front of everyone. Said I was pathetic. Said everyone knew about the steroids, the cheating, all of it. So you killed her. It was an accident. The words exploded out of him. 4,000 viewers now. The comments section was going insane. Marcus had his hands over his ears like he could block out the memory. We were just trying to scare her. Nathan's grip tightened. Hold her under for a few seconds. Make her apologize. But she fought back. She was so strong. And then what? Nathan. His face contorted with something that might have been grief, if sociopaths could grieve. Then she stopped fighting. The confession hung between them. 5,000 viewers. 6,000. The comments section was screaming for someone to call the police. Multiple people said they already had. That's when Nathan realized what he'd said. On live stream, to thousands of witnesses. His eyes went wide, then narrow, then absolutely feral. "You set me up." His free hand went to her throat. "You fucking set me up." Madison had maybe 2 seconds before his fingers closed completely. The pepper spray was in her right hand, trapped between their bodies. But her father had taught her to always have a backup plan. She let her body go limp, dropping her weight. Nathan, expecting resistance, overbalanced, as he adjusted. Madison drove the pepper spray up and fired point-blank into his face. The effect was instantaneous. Nathan screamed, not yelled, not shouted, but screamed like his soul was being ripped out. He released her, hands clawing at his eyes, stumbling backward. "You bitch, I'll kill you. I'll kill you like I killed Bailey." 8,000 viewers. Those 7 words echoing across the parking lot, across the internet, across the world. Nathan dropped to his knees, chemical tears streaming, mucus running. The mighty quarterback reduced to nothing. But through the pain and rage, realization hit him like a second spray. He'd just confessed. Again, explicitly. "No," he moaned. "No, I didn't mean 10,000 viewers," Brooke announced. And for the first time all year, she smiled. 10,000 witnesses to murder. Sirens wailed in the distance. Multiple sirens. The juniors who'd been blocking Madison's escape route were already running. Dylan backed away slowly. Hands up, like Madison might spray him next. But Marcus Torres fell to his knees beside Nathan. "Finally," he whispered. "Finally. It's over." "You knew," Madison said. It wasn't a question. Marcus nodded, tears streaming. "We held her under for 45 seconds. Nathan wouldn't let go. Said she needed to learn respect. By the time we pulled him off..." He broke down completely. "I've been dying inside for 13 months. Every day, seeing him walk free, seeing everyone pretend it didn't happen." The police cars screeched into the parking lot, 6 units. Someone had been taking the live stream very seriously. Officers poured out, weapons drawn, shouting commands. "Hands up, everyone! Hands up!" Madison raised her hands slowly. Pepper spray still visible. "Self-defense," she called out. "It's all on video. He attacked me." As the officers sorted through the scene, as Nathan was cuffed and read his rights while still screaming about his eyes, as Marcus was led away in a separate car, Madison felt her phone buzz. Unknown number. "Check Brooke's bag." She looked at Brooke, who was talking to a detective, showing him the live stream footage. Their eyes met, and Brooke gave a small nod toward her designer bag. Abandoned on the ground. Later, after the statements and the evidence collection and the careful police choreography, Madison would find what was in that bag. A GoPro. Date stamp. September 24th. Last year. The night Bailey Morrison died. But that revelation would come later. Right now. Madison stood in the parking lot as rain finally began to fall, washing away the pepper spray residue and Nathan's blood where he'd clawed his own face. The live stream was still running, viewer count climbing past 20,000. The comment section a river of shock and vindication and justice delayed, but not denied. Madison Harper. A detective approached, older, careful. "I'm Detective Washington. I need to ask you some questions." "Of course." Madison pulled out her phone. "But first, you should know I've been documenting Nathan Reynolds's behavior for weeks. I have files, evidence, recordings. Washington's eyebrows rose. You came here specifically to expose him. No, Madison said. And it was the truth. I came here to get an education, but when I found out what he did to Bailey Morrison, what he was doing to other students, I couldn't look away. And the pepper spray, my father's former special forces, he taught me to be prepared. She met the detective's eyes. Nathan's been escalating for days. I knew something was going to happen. The live stream was his idea, not mine. Washington nodded slowly. We'll need all your documentation, and we'll need to know about whoever's been feeding you information. Madison pulled up the anonymous messages. I don't know who they are, but they knew the truth about Bailey. They've been guiding things toward this moment. As she showed the detective her phone, Brooke approached, mascara smeared, but standing straighter than Madison had ever seen her. I have something too, Brooke said quietly. She pulled out the GoPro with shaking hands. From that night, I've had it for a year. I was too scared to come forward. Nathan said he'd kill me if I ever... But when Madison stood up to him, when she refused to back down, Detective Washington took the camera like it was made of gold. This has footage of Bailey Morrison's death. Brooke nodded. Everything. The planning, the attack, the fee, the aftermath. Nathan made Dylan film it. Some sick power play. Dylan gave it to Chase. Chase felt guilty and gave it to me right before he left for college. Said I should know what kind of monster I was dating. And you kept it. I was 17 and terrified. Brooke's voice cracked. But I'm done being scared. Bailey deserves justice. We all do. The rain intensified, and the parking lot slowly emptied. Police cars left one by one. Nathan in the back of the first one, still moaning about his eyes. The live stream finally ended at 32,000 viewers. By morning, clips would be viewed millions of times. Nathan Reynolds's confession would become infamous. A cautionary tale about privilege and power and what happens when someone finally says enough. But there was still one mystery left. As Madison walked to her car, she found a final message waiting. Thank you for being the catalyst. Bailey was my sister. I knew the truth, but had no power. You had power, but needed truth. Together, we got justice. The GoPro was my insurance. But I needed someone strong enough to force Nathan's hand. You were perfect. Bailey would have liked you. Jerome Morrison. Madison sat in her car for a long time, processing. She'd been right. Someone had orchestrated everything, but not for manipulation or personal gain, for justice, for a sister who could no longer speak for herself. Because Nathan Reynolds was just one predator in one school. But his fall would send ripples across the entire state. Other victims would find their voices. Other predators would face consequences. The system that protected them would crack and crumble. Justice had taken 13 months and a can of pepper spray. But it had finally arrived. And that was just the beginning.